Hello everyone, my name is CJ Stone and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm hoping this will finally work. I've been trying to do this for a very long time now, weeks, but everything I do seems to backfire. So I'm hoping that today is the day that I can finally, and I mean finally, upload a video. Now, since I'm recording on Zoom, your eyes do not deceive you. I am actually going to be splitting this video into parts just so the video can load. Which we're going to be reacting to IMR Scary Tales, 3 scary stalker horror stories, animated. Just makes that the little less creepy. Still creepy though. I looked at the thumbnail. Looks like there's going to be like half flesh face. It's the best way you can describe it in one of the stories. So if you're sensitive to blood, gore, or horror, please do not watch this because it's going to be not very good for you. And also, what is this thumbnail down here? Soulless flies. Anyways, so if you're good with anything horror related, let's get into it. So the first story is called So for part one, I'm just going to be reacting to the first story called Vows. And then for part two, I'll be reacting to the other 2 stories. So let us begin in 3, 2, 1. Story number 1, Vows.
I was always a bit of a party animal. I only stopped going to clubs and bars every night once I got engaged. Once the engagement fell through, I went right back to my old habits. Dancing and drinking whole nights away and taking just about every club drug you can think of.
Clearly, you're doing this. Like, you look drunk.
I was on my first night of clubbing without my fiance sending me 100 texts asking where I was, and that knew that bachelor's life was the life for me. The feeling of blissful freedom wouldn't last though. One day, I was having fun at a nightclub as usual with a new girl I met at a different club a few nights prior. We'd already downed quite a few cocktails, and we were both more than a little bit tipsy. She suggested that we have a go at dancing. I knew it was a bad idea. My vision was blurry, and my stomach was one sudden move away from emptying itself. Nevertheless, I couldn't turn down a cute girl's invitation to dance, just on principle alone.
Like the music.
We had a good time dancing with each other under the flashing strobe lights of the club. Things were getting a little hot and heavy between us.
Checking the
For a moment there, I thought I might actually get
settings.
lucky that night, if you know what I mean. At one point,
I know what you mean, my buckaroo. I don't know why I'm saying it like that. By the way, let me just make sure. Good.
took me by the hand
I'm paranoid now that something happens.
and started pulling more suggestive dance moves with me as her partner.
Ooh.
I thought I'd hit the jackpot. But before I could get too happy, I noticed something from the corner of my eye that made me stop dancing. I turned my head and saw her. Standing alone in a dark corner of the club was my ex-fiancée. She was pale and filthy. The white cloth of the dress she wore was tattered and covered in dirt.
He looks like Slendrina. I didn't know Slendrina the club came out, but I guess it did.
The heat in my body drained away, replaced by a chill of fear that bit right into my bones. "What's wrong?"
Sick.
asked the girl I was with. It's nothing," I told her. "Just had a little too much to drink, that's all." "Aw," she sounded disappointed. "Well, that's a shame. I was hoping we could dance for a bit longer. You want to call me a cab?" "No, I'm good. I'll just walk back. I could do with some fresh air anyways." I stumbled out of the club while the girl I was hoping to go home with stayed behind to keep drinking alone. A girl like her probably won't stay alone for long in a place like that though. I cursed myself for missing my chance to score just because.
Hey, wanna play some video games? I know I do. I haven't seen the sun in years.
Because of something
What
that
type of Senor Palo-looking fella are you? Anyways, maybe that was Senor Palo. I don't know. It was the animation style and the voice, the tone sounded the same, but not the actual voice itself, more of the tone.
happened in my past. It seemed like my ex-fiancée was still holding me back even after I cut her out of my life. I walked through the empty streets, the alcohol still not fully flushed out of my system yet. My blurred vision made it hard for me to see anything around me, while my splitting headache made it hard for me to care much about it.
Seems
I
like
must have
she's
looked like
gonna
the sort of
come
wandering
at you
drunkard
in the
parents
middle
would
of the
warn their
night.
teenagers about when going outside at night. The sort of guy you'd cross the street to avoid. At one point, I tripped over an uneven towel on the sidewalk.
Oh,
I managed to steady myself in time not to fall on my face, but all the booze I'd drunk splashed around in my stomach.
oh,
I felt a burning sensation rising from the pit of my stomach and up into my esophagus.
that's not
I lurched
good.
forward with a retch. I
Oh,
kept my hand over my mouth to
That's
keep my
not-
mouth from vomiting
that
as
is
I
not-
fought back my own gag reflex.
that's not
I
good.
couldn't hold it back at the end and scrambled towards the closest trash can to throw up.
Good
I ran into
idea.
an alleyway that led to a dead end and threw open the lid of the nearest trash can.
It sounds like somebody's throwing up into my ears. Anyways, yeah, I feel bad for him.
Headache somewhat subsided after I emptied everything I drank that night into that trash can. Slowly but surely, my normal vision returned to me as well. I brushed myself off and got ready to leave the alleyway. I wanted to take a good long nap at home to forget what I'd seen at the club. Maybe
Good.
then I could actually enjoy the next time I went to the club. I turned around to walk out of the alleyway, only to see something that froze me in my tracks. My ex-fiancée was standing
Slendrina.
at the entrance of the alleyway, blocking my only exit.
I'm just gonna call her Slendrina since she technically doesn't have a canonical name in this big anime lore. I'm just gonna call her Discounted Slendrina. Discount Slendrina, that's her new name. Welcome to the club.
She was wearing the same white dress she wore back at the club, but now that my vision was clearer, I could tell it was actually a full-blown wedding dress.
Oh,
The same one she intended to wear at our wedding, and the same one she wore when I permanently ended our relationship.
ooh.
You promised me, she said in a raspy voice.
She looks like a zombie.
You promised you'd be with me forever. I didn't know what to say or what to do. Panicked, I stumbled backwards and fell with my eyes still fixed on that ghastly visage of the
Throw a
woman I
trash
once
can
loved.
at her.
Pain shot through my body as I landed on the hard cobblestone, but it was nothing compared to the terror that gripped my heart. With no options left, I backed up against the wall of the dead end and closed my eyes.
Oh,
Tears trickled down my cheeks. I prayed that I
the
was just on the
music went down. High note again because something happened.
bad trip from something I took back at the club. I don't know
Oh.
how long I was there, but by the time I finally gathered the courage to open my eyes, it was morning, and my ex-fiancée was nowhere to be seen. I hurried back to my house that day and went straight to the backyard. I grabbed a shovel from the shed and started digging,
What is
determined
he
not to let the memory of my ex-fiancée hold me back from living my life.
What is he doing?
I told myself that was all she was, a bad memory meant to be forgotten. My drunken mind must have conjured her up back at the club. There was no way it could have been her stalking me at the club because I knew exactly where she was. After all, I was the one who buried her. The blade of my shovel hit something hard within the dirt.
Oh, so she died and you buried her in your yard? Is that what happened? I don't know. It was never explained. Kind of wondered why she looked like a zombie. Guess we know now.
I tossed my shovel away and raked away the dirt with my bare hands. Still lying there in the shallow grave I dug months ago was the rotting corpse of my ex-fiancée. She was still wearing the dress she bought for our wedding, though it was riddled with holes made by hundreds of withering worms. Maggots had eaten away most of her head and face, exposing the cracked open skull she got the night I killed her. I breathed a sigh of relief.
Oh, well, this turned really bad. This went from ghost ex-wife comes to haunt you or comes to follow you to ex-wife you've murdered comes to haunt you. Pretty big difference, I must say, because now that would mean eternally she's out to kill you. Bad decision, my guy.
If she was still here rotting, there was no way it could have been her stalking me out at the club, right? My blood ran cold when I felt the foul breath of something dead and rotting brush against the back of my neck. I didn't dare turn around for fear of what I might find.
Discount
Although I was holding my dead fiancée with my bare hands,
Oh,
I heard her raspy voice whisper in my ear as if she were right behind me. It was the last thing I would ever hear. Till death do us part.
she killed you. Okay, so That was unexpected. She killed him. Interesting. Well, here's the thing. This video is about to end because I'm not sure how long Zoom. Well, hold on. Let's see. This is 20 minutes along with my reaction, and I've only reacted to 6 minutes of the video. That still leaves 14 minutes left. So I don't want to stop in the middle of this story because I know this story from making sure there were no ads. It's long, I think. So let's split this up into two parts. If you were actually interested in this one, go see part two, and which will probably come out soon after this. So thank you for watching, and you folks have a wonderful rest of your day. Goodbye. All right. I should probably do the outro now. Bye bye.